Welcome to The Kingdom, a podcast dedicated to CCBC Essex Athletics and a land defended by Sir Ross's Knights. Now here's your host, Rocco Geppi.
Hello, Knights Nation. Rocco Geppi here for the Kingdom podcast, and welcome back. We took a week off last week, and we had a very good reason, as this week's episode number 12, is all about champions. We will have region champions, both from team sports and individual sports, on in this episode. It might be cold outside, but this episode promises to be hot. And we are starting things off. I don't think you could be any hotter than this team, with some student athletes from men's soccer who just recently won its 10th consecutive Region 20 title. With me here today to talk about that are teammates Andy Portillo, Ethan Stewart, and the Sams, Sam Mejia and Sam Diaz, part of the Sam 3 Club. Guys, how you doing?
Doing all right, Rocco. Thank you for having us.
Doing well, Rocco. How you doing?
I'm good. I couldn't be happier. We won a couple of region titles last week, a couple of individuals, and of course yours, the team winning the Region 20 Division 2 region championship, along with the Mid-Atlantic District Championship, to get that automatic qualifier for the national tournament. And the rankings just came out, the final rankings have you guys sitting at number 1. So, honestly, I'm going to be surprised when they rank the tournament if you guys aren't sitting there right at number 1. First of all, how does it feel to win the region again this year? I know it at a certain point, it has to feel like, you have that bullseye on your back because you've won so many a row. But how did this one feel? Andy, we'll start with you.
Coach would always talk about, even before the season, that we have a target on our back the whole season. So we always hold that on us when we're going into games. Like, these teams want to beat us. They want to beat Essex. They're looking to beat Essex. So every win that we've gotten, every regional championship that me and both Sam's personally, because we've been here for 3 seasons, it's been special because everybody wants to beat Essex.
What do you think, Mejia?
I totally agree. There's been a lot of pressure on us, especially on the team. A lot of teams want to beat us, especially in the past. But now that this is our final season, it means a lot to us.
That's great. Going into the tournament, you guys, of course, the number 1 seed. And heading into the tournament, I'm not sure if you guys knew this or not. I'm hoping Ethan at least would know this. Heading into the tournament, you guys had only allowed 1 goal in region play. You kind of, you got by Potomac State in that first round, 9-1. Heading into that championship game, having only given up 2 goals to Region 20 opponents, you guys had to feel good about that. Ethan, specifically looking for your view on that, being in the back.
We thought it was we thought we played well throughout the whole season, and not giving up any goals was a great accomplishment. But that's something that we kind of just gotten used to. We believe in our team. We believe in our everyone on the team. It's not just the defense. It's the whole team effort. And we're pretty pleased with that, and we're hoping to keep that going and going into nationals.
Diaz, what are your thoughts on that? Is a lot of games in the region, and to only give up 2 goals heading into that championship game, it have to give you a pretty positive feeling.
I guess it makes me proud of our defense because I'm a tagging player, so I don't play much defensively. But just watching them defend, I'm always hyping them up, always telling them a great job, because it always starts from the back and it leads to the front, and that's when we end up scoring, moving the ball around and processing up the field.
Exactly. Last Saturday, you guys are getting ready for that game as the women's game was finishing up. And I'm a little disappointed you didn't take my advice, because I asked for a quick start, and you guys waited until the 50th minute to score that first goal.
I want to make the game interesting.
What were the challenges in that first half? Because it wasn't like there were not opportunities. You guys took 6 shots in the first half. Obviously taking more in the second half, but 6 shots 4 corner kicks in that first half. What was going on in the first half that you guys just couldn't put one in?
First half, it was kind of a weird half. We didn't really start off playing our game. We kind of dropped to their level in a way, but so we had to like regroup, talk about it with each other, and pick it up for the second half. Because first half, honestly, it wasn't as good as I wanted it to be, as we all wanted it to be. I think I could speak for everybody that we could have done way better first half, but second half we definitely picked it up.
Meanwhile, is the only member of the defense, Ethan Stewart's back there saying, "Hey, we did our job. You know, we kept them off the board." That first half, they did take Howard. That is 4 shots, only 1 on goal, or excuse me, all 4 of theirs on goal in the first half. Ethan, as a defender, I know you don't want to give up that many opportunities, but talk about your backline mates and your goalkeeper, Brendan Lemaster. You know, they faced some pressure in the first half and you guys held up.
Yeah, no, the first half was definitely a challenge for us. But yeah, as you're right, we did hold up. It was a challenge because, like Andy said, we weren't really playing our game, you know, and that kind of affects the whole team. Yeah, no, it felt good to hold them to 0 goals. And I think something that, I mean, not necessarily for the defense and like the field that we're playing on was not really the best. So that kind of affected us a little bit. It was like a little bit different from the fields that we played on in the past. So I think that played a huge part into, you know, our sloppiness in the first half. But yeah, no, it felt good to keep them off the scoreboard.
Yeah, I mean, you bring up a great point there, Ethan. And for those of you that don't know, the game was played at and hosted by Howard Community College. Howard soccer field, they have a great natural grass. I believe it's Bermuda. Just a wonderful field. The problem is the night before we had about 2.5 inches of rain. So we had to move it over to their field turf where 98% of the time their lacrosse games are being played there. And even though I know you guys are used to playing on a turf field here, that turf field is nothing like the home turf field at all.
Like concrete.
Definitely not.
No.
So yeah, I could definitely see some time getting used to that. And to the credit of all of you, you did get used to it in the second half. In the 50th minute, Andy Portillo, and I've talked to Andy about this a little off air. That might be, I know I can say for sure that is the goal that you struck is definitely the most amazing goal I've ever seen you score. Take me through, and for those of you that haven't seen this, get on our Instagram page at CCBC Essex Sports. It's a couple of posts back, but an absolute just missile of a left foot shot. Andy, take me through, you know, your approach, the handling of the ball up to that point, and what you saw and what made you pull the trigger.
So I remember getting the ball from Mike. Mike at a combi passing the ball. Probably 40 yards away from the goal. I take a couple touches in front of me, couple long touches, and I just look up and there's a lot of space in front of me. Defenders just kind of holding me off, like covering my run so I don't run past him. But he gives me enough space to shoot, so I just let it rip and ended up going in. And I think that's the best goal I've ever scored in my whole soccer career because I think it was a really good goal, and it was in a regional final as well. That's why I think it's one of the best goals I've ever scored. Because to score that in a regional final, in my opinion,
was that one of those where off the foot you knew it was going in?
Yeah, definitely.
And let me ask you this, and obviously there are different ways of categorizing stats, but are you aware that your 9 goals this season, 6 of them have been game winners?
I was not aware. I'm just finding this out. It's crazy.
Hey, Sam's hanging there for me. Don't get jealous. We're moving over to you guys here in just a second. We are talking with Andy Portillo, Sam Mejia, Ethan Stewart, and Sam Diaz here on the Kingdom Podcast, and we're wrapping up the Region 20 Division II championship game. The second score of the game for the Knights came in the 56th minute. Mejia had a free kick set up. I believe you were about 25 yards out, 25 yards out. Does that sound about right?
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay. And again, folks, make sure you head over to our social media because all of these goals are on there. Another, flying projectile of a goal here. And if memory serves, because I remember hearing it because we started counting, I believe they, when you set up for this, they put up a 7-man wall, didn't they?
8-man wall.
Oh.
7-man wall, and they had somebody on the floor behind the wall.
Oh my gosh. So take me past because, you didn't care about no stinking wall at that point. You went around the wall. Take me through as you're seeing this thing get put together, and then what your approach was to the kick.
Yeah. So I see that they have. So first of all, the team, they have a couple tall dudes, so they put them on the wall. So I'm saying, yeah, I can't do that. So,
and for those of you that don't know, tall dudes is a technical soccer term.
Yeah, it is.
Go ahead, continue.
So then I see the goalkeeper. He's standing right in the middle of the goal. So I say I have to go to the right side. So I hit it literally right top corner where I wanted to go.
So at that point, you guys are up 2-0. We're heading into the 56th, 57th minute of play. Still plenty of time left. And, we're getting extremely, or had already been extremely superstitious on the sideline. In the first half, myself, our director, Brian Farrell, and some other folks, we were over on the spectator side of the field. So the second half, we make our way over to the side of where your benches are. And that's a couple of former, our director, Brian Farrell, played collegiate baseball. I played baseball up until my early 20s. That's some baseball stuff right there, guys. If one thing's not working, you got to switch it up. So we come over to your side, and we're still thinking at that point, like, we'd like to have another goal. We'd like to have a third goal. And we had to wait almost 23 minutes for it. But finally, in the 78th minute, I think, we get that third goal, and we're all at that point able to, I think, breathe a little bit better, and kind of start counting down. And I think from that point on, I looked at the scoreboard probably about 2,700 times waiting for that time to tick down. Sam, you scored that third goal, Sam Diaz, assisted by Michael Adekambi. Take me through that one, because that was there was a little bit of a traffic in front of the net, and you just came in and kind of a hockey term here, you cleaned up the trash right in the front.
Yeah, well, it was all build-up play starting from Ethan in the back. Like I said, the build-up play starts from defense. And if you look at the film, it starts from the right side and it leads all the way to the left side where they'll go on and crosses the ball. And then back post was Mike and Taquero. And Mike got a touch on it and the keeper saved it. And I was just, striker mentality, right place, right time, just tap it in.
Excellent. And of course, Ethan, as that game is building, goals are being scored, up to a certain point, your job kind of gets a little easier. But put me into a defender's mentality. You guys are up 2-0. What is your job at that point? What is the strategy as a defender when you're up by 2 goals?
The strategy for the second half, as well as actually the whole game, was pretty much just to defend. So I was told by Coach Omar and Coach Joe before the game to conserve myself and not go up and down the field in the attack as much, because we wanted to hold them to 0 goals like we did. But yeah, no, defending was the #1 priority, and I think we did that pretty well.
Yeah, after that third goal was scored, I mean, not really much in the way of opportunities taken by Howard. In fact, looking at the play-by-play, I don't think they got another shot on goal against you guys.
No,
I don't think so.
Yeah, so that third goal kind of put it away. Like you said earlier, you guys win your 10th consecutive Region 20 title, which after talking to a few people to confirm is a record by a long shot in this region. I can't speak nationally. I don't know where we rank nationally. There were some teams that have pretty big streaks, but my guess is we got to be in the top 5 nationally. So as soon as I figure that, get that one taken care of and get back from the archives, we'll have more of information. But now you guys get to go back to Wichita, Kansas, where it wasn't too long ago you were there back in June. The NJCAA Division II Men's Soccer Championships, November 15th through the 21st. And here, at least in the offices, we anticipate the Knights being a number 1 seed, which the biggest thing I think, and you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, are that day of rest in between the games. Does that sound accurate?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, that's huge.
That day of
It's
rest is
absolutely
huge.
So now, since you guys have already been there, what are you guys doing to prepare for Kansas? I mean, obviously the weather in November is going to be different than the weather in June, but what's in the early running right now? We are 10 days away from, or I guess 8 days away before you guys leave. What are you guys preparing to pack? What are you guys preparing for weather-wise?
Definitely gotta pack some warm clothes because should be very cold over there. Check the weather, should be 50s, mid 40s, somewhere around there. But definitely
Which is not fun for soccer.
No, not at all.
All right. Well, gentlemen, I appreciate you joining me. We're going to get some closing thoughts here from you. And folks, 3 of our 4 guests today, Andy Portillo, Mejia, and Diaz, they are a part of a very unique group, having won 3 region titles. But guys, as you get away from me here today, just give me kind of your closing thoughts on heading into this tournament, what we should be prepared for to see out of the Knights in Wichita, Kansas.
I think everybody is going to see a very focused group. Our motivation has been to get back to that national final. Didn't feel good to lose that final last year, and now that we're went back, it's all in or nothing. It's all in or nothing. It's go win and go home.
Yep.
It's the goal.
Thank you, Andy. Ethan, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I'm gonna go off of what Andy said. We were definitely really disappointed last season in that final, but yeah, we've been working really hard to get back to that point, and honestly, we've gotten a lot better. We've added a lot of new players to our team. We've got a lot more depth. And yeah, we're pretty much the same team as we were last season, except just a little bit stronger. So we're looking to hopefully end up winning the whole thing this year, and we're going to play some good competition. So yeah.
Mr. Diaz, what do you say?
Like Ethan was saying, we built a great team this season, and we have a lot of players that come in for subs, and the level wouldn't change. And honestly, like you said, me, Andy, and Mejia have been here for 3 years, and we just want to leave Essex with something that will be remembered.
Last but not least, Sam Mejia.
The team has been improving a lot since the season has started. So we're really excited to get going and get back to nationals.
All right. I need you guys to do me a little favor as you're out there. I don't care, and hopefully it doesn't, if the temperatures drop down to the high 30s. I want you to make sure that Mr. Stewart is highly hydrated throughout this entire tournament.
We'll do, Rocco. We'll do.
We're not going to get into that, folks. Those that know. Those that don't. The men's soccer team heading back to Wichita, and they're trying to bring home the championship trophy, the first one for men's soccer since 1974, and the first overall national championship for CCBC Essex since 2004. Guys, we wish you nothing but the best. We'll all be tuned in and watching and cheering you on from here.
Appreciate it, Rocco.
Appreciate it, Rocco.
Thank you.
Take care.
Very good.
You got it. Thanks for joining me here today. We're going to hit a break, folks. We'll be back in 30 seconds, and we have some more champions to talk to here on the Kingdom Podcast, a podcast dedicated to CCBC Essex Athletics.
Let's talk about college. Times have changed. When it comes to realizing who I am and what I can be, I will not tie my dreams to somebody else's definition of success. I will not confuse a fancy name with a good education.
For all the practical thinkers, the achievers, the can't wait to get started types out there, your community college is waiting. Rethink what's possible with CCBC. Visit us online at ccbcmd.edu and see what you can be.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are back here on the Kingdom Podcast Championship Edition. We just spoke with the 4 members of the men's soccer team. Really appreciate them joining us. And now we transition to some more champs, some more folks heading to national tournaments with me from men's and women's cross country are Natalia Johnson, Sam Smith, and Braden Berkey. Folks, thanks for joining me on the show.
Thanks for having us.
You're welcome.
You're welcome.
All right. So last Saturday at Westmoreland County Community College, the Region 20 / Maryland JUCO / Western Pennsylvania Conference races took place. And on the men's side, in our midst here, we have the Division II Region 20 champion, Braden Berkey. And Braden, correct me if I'm wrong, and if I'm wrong, I'll probably just edit it anyway. No, I'm just kidding. The men's side, you guys ran an 8K?
That's correct.
All right. Braden coming in with the top time, Division II of 30 minutes, 22.2 seconds to take the Region 20 crown on the men's side. On the women's side, Madison Magaha, who unfortunately could not join us today in the 6K, again, if I'm not mistaken, finishing with a 23-minute, 11.4 second run. Natalia, who is with us, she ran it in 26:24. And to get back over to the men's side, Sam, not too far behind his teammate, running 31:18.6 seconds. Braden, I'm going to start with you first. How does it feel to have a region championship in your first year running cross country?
Feels pretty exciting. Thank you. Still got lots of work to do and get better for next year, but it's pretty exciting for the time being.
I've had a lot of conversations with head coach Noah Hutton, and he said he's been really impressed with how you all have progressed this year. So for you specifically, how has that progression taken place in your opinion?
I would say it's taken place due to base training and longevity of training. So basically consistency.
Excellent. Sam, I'm going to shift over to you because this season, I'm sure in a lot of ways has been special. Last year, you were here, but because of the pandemic, no cross country at CCBC, and then you actually did some track and field in the spring when that opened up. So finishing high at the region championship Division II, I believe you came in 4th place, and now I'm really getting myself in trouble. But as I look that up to confirm, why don't you let us know what it feels like to finally be out there running and then to do so well at the end of the season in the region finals?
It was definitely surprising. I didn't think I would do that well, but the training paid off, and I was really happy about that.
That's great. It's great. And it looks like I gypped you one spot. You finished 3rd in the division behind your teammate and a runner from Hartford. And not bad at all. I mean, the uncertainty last year, now coming back strong this year. Natalia, talk to me about your run, finishing in 4th place for the women. And, as I look at your times throughout the season, it seems like, just every race you were getting better and better and better. And actually I see you at practice a lot of the times you're one of the first people to show up. So take me through your progression this season and what that meant to you, what you think it took place in the progression.
Well, this is my first year running cross country, and I didn't really run it in high school either. So I'm actually pretty proud of myself. And with the constant training and practicing, it kind of paid off a lot, me constantly pushing myself through the races and the practices kind of helped, I guess, during the race, the last race, which paid off, I shall say.
So as somebody that didn't run cross country in high school, what do you think was the most beneficial to you this season? Was it having other runners, like a teammate, Madison, or was it, the coaches preparing you? Was it all of it? But what was most beneficial as a newcomer to the sport?
I'd say all of it, because everyone's pretty welcoming, and running with other people as well kind of pushed me because I wasn't really sure what to expect or how to pace myself. But like while practicing with other people, it kind of like, and the coaches breaking down how I should run for cross country, like helped a lot on like what I need to work on in order to get faster for cross country, because it's completely different than any other sport I've played.
Gotcha. Sam, we're going to circle back around to you. I want to hear about your progression as well, because I honestly, I don't think, and I know this to some people listening, it might sound kind of like an obvious thing to say, but I think everybody on this team progressed with better times as we go along. So for you, Sam, what was that progression like for you? What was most helpful in your progression as well?
I think the most beneficial thing in my progression was just definitely running with other people, because I'm not quite as fast as Braden, but we're close enough that we can run together on most practices, and just having someone there with me is a good thing, to like a mental barrier to just break through, just knowing that he's right there, and I just try to keep up with him.
Braden, how does that make you feel to hear your team? I mean, I can't believe that that's the first time you've heard that, or that you know that, but to know that, you're kind of not only, trying to reach benchmarks and do things for yourself, obviously, but that you're kind of that pace setter for your teammates.
It's good. It makes me happy that my work helps teammates as well, because at the end of the day, even though cross country in some regards is an individual sport, it is a team sport overall.
Yeah, I would definitely say that. And, looking at some of the things when you came in this year, coming from Loch Raven, which is a huge running school, tell me a little bit about what you learned at Loch Raven to not only make you a better runner, but that kind of prepared you to be in it even if you are not fully assuming it as a vocal leader, but you're kind of in a leadership role. Talk about how the program at Loch Raven prepared you for that.
Yeah. At Loch Raven, I was captain on my last 2 seasons on the cross country team. So not that I was expecting to hold a leadership role here, because it was my first season. I still have some experience in that area.
And is that something that you want to or anticipate continuing going forward, not only into the national championship meet, but next season?
Yeah, I would especially say next season, because at that point I will be a veteran athlete on the team, on only a 2-year team. So I do anticipate that moving forward.
Excellent. Appreciate that. And looking forward as well, the program, I think, is going in a good direction. Obviously, a lot of programs this year at our level took kind of a little bit of an off season as far as recruiting was concerned because of the pandemic. But just judging from where everybody is now and what things look like for the future of cross country, I think you all have helped put this program in a very good spot. Before we let you go, just want to get all of you, get your opinions as you're getting ready to head down to Richmond, Virginia. Just kind of take me through one by one what's going through your head, what the preparation is like. And we will start, ladies first. We will start with you, Natalia.
I'm kind of excited about it because it's something new
Mm-hmm.
and shows a lot of progress on what we've all kind of worked on for us to make it. And I guess to get ready for it, it's kind of just keep training and just basically do what we've been doing all year. Just work, I guess, push ourselves harder in order to, I guess, place better, or like try and get our times like slower, or like I guess run faster at the meet. And I guess just have fun, honestly.
Looking ahead on the weather forecast, I know you guys are not leaving for another 4 or 5 days, but is there anything you're looking to pack and make sure it's in that suitcase before you head out?
I just say extra socks, because I've learned that your socks and your shoes get wet either the day before or like the morning of, and if it's raining, it's not the best to run while your socks are wet. But during your run, you kind of get used to it. But like in the beginning, it definitely becomes a mental game because you're more focused on your shoes and like being uncomfortable compared to just running through it.
That is definitely a runner's answer. Sam, what about you? What are you looking forward to? And what are you packing in that suitcase that, socks are already taken? Sorry. So you might have to get a little bit creative.
Especially with the colder weather, I'm definitely like a second jacket. Because if we don't have the bus to sit on, it's gonna get cold, and I don't want to freeze before a race. So, yeah.
Absolutely. And what's the excitement level for you right now? Or is that something that's going to pick up for you in the next few days as you get closer to leaving?
So before a race, I try to psych myself up all week, make sure I have a whole good week. And it definitely amplifies the closer I get to a race. Excited right now, gonna get even more excited later.
That's good. I can hear it. I can hear it in your voice. Last but not least, Mr. Berkey, what are you going through mentally in order to get ready for this race? And what is one thing that you will not forget to pack away for this trip to Richmond?
Okay, so I'm thinking that I've already put in the work and it's paid off. So there's nothing to lose for this race. I know that at regionals, I was really working hard to aim for placement, but now I'm just going to let it all hang out and try and run a really fast time. And as for my suitcase, I'm definitely going to bring extra layers because I haven't even seen the 7-day forecast for Richmond, but I'm going to bring extra layers, and I'm also going to make sure I bring a roller this time because my legs were feeling it after running in the mud last time at Westmoreland.
Very good. And actually, before we get out of here, Braden, I'm glad you brought that up, folks. All of our runners in this in the regional tournament at Westmoreland, everybody ran personal records, and it was in the mud, really huge. And congratulations to all of you. I mean, that's impressive to not only run a personal record, big best time that you've run, but to do so in the mud. You guys are coming in and 30-minute 8Ks and 26-minute 6Ks. And I'm telling you right now, it would probably take me an hour and a half to go 8Ks. So in the mud, no less. Very impressive for you all. Thanks to all three of you, Natalia, Sam, Braden. Thank you all for being with me here on the show. Really appreciate it. And we'll be cheering for you as you head down November 11th through the 14th, Richmond, Virginia, for the NJCAA Division II Cross Country Championships.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, thanks for having us, Rocco.
It was my pleasure, folks. We're going to hit one last break, and when we return, it's happened. Women's hoops is back at Essex. They hit the hardwood for their first game this week, and we have all the information and the recap here on the Kingdom Podcast, a podcast dedicated to CCBC Essex Athletics.
Times have changed. No longer will I stay stuck in a job because college has no time for me. I have a life and kids. I will not let a limited schedule limit me. My kids will see hard work pays off.
For all the practical thinkers, the achievers, the can't wait to get started types out there, your community college is waiting. Rethink what's possible with CCBC. Visit us online at ccbcmd.edu and see what you can be.
We are back. Final segment on this episode, number 12 of season 4 of the Kingdom Podcast. And we turn our attention to women's soccer, where unfortunately the Knights' season ended last Saturday at Howard Community College in the Region 20 Division II Women's Soccer Finals. The Knights fall 2-0 to the Dragons in that game. The Knights really gave it their all, a lot of opportunities. By the end of the game, the Knights had taken 16 shots, a total of 8 of those on goal. But the Dragons keeper, Haley Murray, doing her job, making 8 saves in the shutout. The game was scoreless all the way up until the 82nd minute when the Dragons busted through for their first goal, and 2 minutes later put it out of reach with their second goal. The Knights finished the season 8-4, a lot to be proud of this year. A second
time making it to the championship game of the Region 20 tournament. And looking at some of the names on this roster, of course, this is the last season for Kara Dietrich. She finishes her Knights career on top of the leaderboard with a total of 106 goals in just 48 games played. She finishes with 233 points on 4 assists. We wish her nothing but the best in her future endeavors. Some other Knights that may have also played their final game here in the Kingdom. Kaylin LaPointe, one of our backs who played a lot of midfield this year. Sam Hosier, Zeta Holloway, and Aya Neal, all just extremely important to this season's team that played very well down the stretch to put themselves in position to have the number 1 seed in the Region 20 tournament. Look to hear more from the likes of Neal, Holloway, and Dietrich as the region and conference teams are announced, all Region 20 and all Maryland JUCO conference teams coming up later this month. Last but certainly not least, as we teased about before we went to our final break, women's basketball played their first regular season game in quite some time due to the pandemic. On November the 3rd, they traveled to Bryn Mawr, Pennsylvania to take on the Bears, and the Bears took the brunt of the Knights having not played a game since March of 2020. The Knights come out in this one 86-53, leading the charge in that game. Lyric Swan finishing with a double-double on 26 points, 13 assists. Her teammate, Patricia Anugba, also with a double-double. She had 13 points, 11 rebounds, 9 of those rebounds coming from the defensive side of things. And, something the Knights that we were used to seeing, that we weren't used to seeing, rather. The Knights actually, this one began with a 7-6 opening run for the Bears. Head coach Mike Sini called a timeout, and after that timeout, the Knights go on a 16-0 run to take a 22-7 lead, and they never looked back. Like I mentioned earlier, defensively led by Anumga, Anasia Staten also getting in on the action right behind her with 8 defensive boards, 11 total, and she had 2 steals to go along with her 6 points. Lyric Swan, we mentioned her 26 points. She shot 47% from the field, 6 of 9 from the free throw line. And at halftime, it was very clear that the Knights were asserting their authority, 53-18 at the break. And the Bears would come out in the second half and outscore Essex 35-33. The damage already done. Kendall Haggerty and Jalen Swan, they finished with 2 3-pointers apiece. Promise Cunningham, she came off the bench, was a huge spark on defense, contributing 9 points on 4 of 10 shooting. And a quote from head coach Mike Sini, quote, "I was really happy to see us still score the ball even though we didn't shoot it how we wanted to from long distance. A lot of that had to do with Lyric and Patricia and the pressure they put on the Bears defense getting downhill in the gaps and finding teammates or scoring themselves." End quote. Next up, the Knights are heading down for the Carly Ray Classic hosted by Cape Fear Community College, happening November 5th and 6th. They will face Brunswick Community College on Friday, Cape Fear on Saturday. Then on November 11th, the team heads up 95 North to take on Delaware Technical Community College. And finally, Essex will open its home slate on November 13th against Monroe College. Remember, unfortunately, spectators currently not permitted here at the Kingdom for games, so make sure you watch and subscribe to the Knights YouTube channel for all of our live streams. That is at youtube.com/CCBC Essex Knights. And for more information on the team, make sure you follow them on Twitter and Instagram. All of our team Instagrams and Twitter accounts are in the notes for this episode. For women's basketball on Twitter, it's at Knights_WBB. And on Instagram, it's at CCBC Essex_WBB. So look out for more information on Knights women's basketball. That is all the time we have for this episode. We thank you as we always do. We appreciate you listening to us. We appreciate your support. To follow us on social media, it's at CCBC Essex Sports on both Twitter and Instagram. You can follow us on Facebook and YouTube by searching CCBC Essex Athletics. The redesigned website is fully a go right now, so make sure you check us out at ccbcessexknights.com. As I said before, all the social media handles for our fall and winter teams are in the episode description, so make sure you follow us all. Thank you once again, ladies and gentlemen, for joining us on episode 12 in season 4 of the Kingdom Podcast. Until next time, so long, be well, and stay safe.